Okay. Hot take right now. Was Punk really the hottest star of 2011? Over the summer of Punk. I've never known a person being hot for a year, yet the time he was relevant, it was only a few months out of the year. That's an amazing claim to fame. You made one work shoot promo that they allowed, by the way. They just cut over your mic so they can make a cliffhanger because that was after a TLC match from Raw, a tables match off Raw Roulette. And to be honest, there was more overstars than you in 2011, Punk. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you're telling me out of all you had to say, any other wrestler out of that locker room would have said it. Yeah, I feel like it's unoriginal, and any other guy would have been saying they would have been a better wrestler, or a better world champion, or they would have been the face of the company over John Cena. You were just another underground favorite, just so everybody just knows your indie background. That was only a point into the favoritism that you had over backstage, and how you had this massive chip over your shoulder that you still have even today. Now, I guess quintessentially now being a booker for AEW or something, knowing that you're cancer. Many people backstage, even Hornswoggle, Matt Hardy, a lot of workers that's worked with you in the past knows that you're cancer, a narcissist, or a two-faced bitch. But besides the point, I don't know you personally, and just knowing like how like weak-minded some of the fans are, just pointing that you're 1 month uh getting expiring over your contract, uh then getting booked over for to headline a pay-per-view, and then you headline two in a row, and then you only have an issue that you're not holding the strap when you should be, blessed that you're still headlining pay-per-view matches and you don't even have to hold the damn strap. And plus, that's even a hassle anyway. Hogan was WCW. Hogan wasn't even that much of WCW heavyweight champion around '99, and he was still headlining a majority of the cards over that time over guys like DDP, Sting, Goldberg, Bret Hart, Jeff Jarrett. Even later over that year, Chris Benoit. Sometimes you just need to be a big enough name and garner that much of headlines and be that much of a draw for the show that you don't even have to be world champion to main event. That's the whole point. You need to be the main attraction, just like John Cena was. He main evented majority of the card, and most of them weren't even title matches. Honestly, he headlined Mania 28 against The Rock. And then he had Extreme Rules with Brock Lesnar. And then later on, wasn't it with didn't he have a three-way? No, I think it was Lesnar and Triple H at SummerSlam. Then he had Punk at Night of Champions. Like, if you're not telling me that The Rock and Cena weren't the biggest main attractions or the biggest stars that come out of 2011, you're lying to yourselves. You're just lying to yourselves. It's not a drawn in fact. Like, out of anything that goes on, I think more people cared about Rey Mysterio with his 1 day reign as WWE champion and see what would actually happen in the future than what was Punk doing. Either than getting in an underwhelming feud with Orton around earlier that year, and then just join over the Nexus. And over most of that time, he was just in colored commentary, being a plain ass babyface. Like that. You don't know how much Punk, whenever he's on screen, either than if it was with a bigger name, Punk can never carry a mid Carter or anybody else that's under him into being an elevated star. Punk can't do that. Honestly. Like, we whenever Punk, no one issues Punk's the WWE champs in the building. He just looks like another guy holding the belt. He held it for a couple. He held it for like 2 years, and possibly he was never the main attraction whenever watching Monday Night Raw in 2011. You cannot tell me over all the vitriol and all the praise of the summer of Punk and how it could have been so better if he fought John Cena for the world title instead of Del Rio, if they didn't cash in, if they wanted to push the feud with Kevin Nash and Triple H at Kevin Nash and Triple H at Night of Champions, or Kevin Nash with Punk if it wasn't for Nash's health issue. It would just be like when Kevin Nash fought AJ Styles in 2009. Like, we're still excusing the point that Punk was feuding with Kevin Nash over a bigger storyline over corruption, and Punk was still like saying, "I don't need this match. You need this match." When this is supposed to be giving you headlines, you're dealing with two guys with the biggest pullover backstage that are also influential wrestlers, and one that has political power on and a major position in the card in the show like Triple H, and yet you're coming around trying to be big headed and shit. And then I have to hear, news that WWE would want you back over the opportunity they gave you, over the major pull you have having your own like shirts, your title run, majority of promotion, and the only issue that you have is you haven't main evented. Honestly, this is why I never messed with Punk when I was younger. Like around 2011, all I felt was like I missed Michaels, I missed Batista because the year after Batista left and Michaels retired after WrestleMania 26. When in the hell was there room for all? Because Punk sounded like that Punk. There was nothing masculine about CM Punk. No child will ever grow up to be CM Punk, and that's a fact. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm sure there's plenty of fans of Punk, and I'm not discrediting. He's a good worker. There hasn't been a bad match of Punk, but never an exciting match of Punk. You can never feel like, yo, holy shit, I can't wait. Remember that move he did? Like, it's not like Jeff Hardy. It's not like Rob Van Dam, where like every match is like a highlight reel, even if it was with the weakest mid carder. Like I can remember a match with Rob Van Dam versus possibly Jamie Noble, Billy Kidman, when he fought the Undertaker back at Vengeance 2001. I watched that on the network. I was too young to watch that. Like anybody, like you're not gonna get a boy match whenever you hear the name Jeff Hardy or Rob Van Dam. Punk is just, you just expect him because he's just the Miz level with a lack of acting ability and just a snarky, pessimistic, sarcastic, narcissist douchebag that he comes and plagues himself around that can't take constructive criticism. And apparently I have to acknowledge this couple of months of him being relevant, all because he was just a good upper mid carder, and people don't want to accept that. It's like if they ever made like the weak Chavo Guerrero Sanity in Lucha Underground, like you guys are gonna acknowledge that. I just acknowledge Chavo's existence, like we acknowledge Punk was WWE champion. It's the same when Kofi was WWE champion. It's like he's a name that you think doesn't do anything wrong, in good hand. You think he deserves the strap. He holds it for an extensive amount of period. Nobody ever cares or watches him unless there's a bigger name than him, and he still doesn't gravitate to be on that level. Like Punk, after he lost the world title to The Rock, he got his rematches and just went down the card after losing to The Undertaker. Like just mid card match with Ryback, match with Curtis Axel, and even when he was WWE champion, he was a mid carder. Like, you think he's gonna elevate Dolph Ziggler and Daniel Bryan, Kane, guys that were actually getting more focus than him, and that actually had a more interesting character than him, and we're going for bigger storylines. Even like the year after, like Ziggler started feuding with Cena, and then in the year after he cashed in to be world champion. Daniel Bryan was more over than Punk. Honestly. Even though he was like injury prone and overrated, like there was more of a likability to Bryan. His history was more well documented and he had more memorable segments than Punk. There, other than Punk just verbally abusing a middle aged grown ass man all because he wasn't a good worker in Japan. Like, shut up. No one watched Laurinaitis in his prime, and nobody ever watched like a regular match with you versus Dolph Ziggler on an episode of SmackDown for a Royal Rumble title rematch that obviously everybody remembers. Like, please stop, Punk. Please. I just can't. I'd rather rewatch The Muppet Show than Punk being world champion. No, The Muppet Show special when the Muppets came to Monday Night Raw. That was like mad cringe for like a grown ass man, but like exciting for a child because it's PG. And it's not like Punk boosted over that PG rating all because he referenced Cole Cabana. He bullied John Laurinaitis while Cena was still having high profile matches with Ziggler, Punk, Big Show, Lesnar, and The Rock. You can't beat that. You still can't even beat that. Even with Laurinaitis, he's still a headline. And it wasn't a bad decision. It's because what's going to draw more attention? A storyline involving the GM against the top star in the company, or just a above average wrestler that's holding the world title at that point? It's just pure science. I'm not trying to be rude. It's just pure science. You're going to go over the bigger story. Like, if Hogan... I mean, if Benoit was WCW World Champion at that time, like, I'm going to put Hogan versus Ric Flair or Hogan versus Eric Bischoff, because it's involving an authority figure that we consistently see on TV against the biggest draw in the company. That's going to be more bigger than the World Champion. It's just a pure fact. Like, Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Davis is going to not headline over whoever Floyd Mayweather is going to box in that same card. That's a fact. That's just a pure fact. You gotta headline the show with the person that everybody's waiting for. That's just showbiz, and that's just a fact. It's not off your wrestling ability. So, yeah. Punk never really increased the ratings. Road to WrestleMania ratings were gradually going to get bigger, all because we were going to see The Rock at Mania. Miz was actually doing better promo time, and he was a more interesting champion than Punk. With a better discography, and he was just actually garnering people's attention over his promo and actually gotten heat. Because who wants to hear a guy like Miz win? A chauvinistic, snarky heel that thinks he got it all, coming from the bottom and now he's here in the top, and brags about it all the time. Not the best in the world. I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't get pussy, I wrestle. Honestly, this guy got Lita. But besides the point, like, tell me how you guys feel in the comment section. I just feel like the Summer Punk was mad overblown. Over just to the exception that Punk just said something that any other guy would have said on the roster, not just the fans. Because any other person, especially guys that were watching over in my age, just didn't care at that point. Unless you just were a hardcore wrestling fan in 2011 and you're already sick of the Cena reign. Then I understand, of course, many fans would have, but it would be with a wrestler that is already more interesting than Punk. And to be honest, I felt like it would have been more impactful if it was more transitional. And there was actually more development over Punk. Instead of just making him babyface for like the remainder of 2011 to the middle of 2012. And then immediately turn him heel. And then let him look more weaker. Thinks he's a skinny fat jobber, supposedly beating guys like Kane and Ryback and Cena clean. Somewhat. Besides that, how you guys feel? I understand this is a lower down video because it's late. I wanted to get these thoughts in the air as soon as possible. And screw the Straight Edge Society. Thanks for watching the DST show. Thanks for watching, and subscribe, like, and share so we can grow this up to 300 and more.